Chapter 2: The Cycle of Hopelessness. Pooja's heart was heavy as she walked home from Rohit's house. It had been another long evening spent together, talking and laughing and enjoying each other's company. But for Pooja, there was always something missing. She couldn't help but feel the ache in her heart every time she looked at Rohit, knowing that he would never love her the way she loved him. As she climbed the stairs to her apartment, Pooja felt a sense of despair wash over her. She had been in love with Rohit for so long, but he seemed oblivious to her feelings. It was like she was trapped in a cycle of hopelessness, always hoping for something that would never happen. Pooja tried to shake off the feeling as she entered her apartment. She reminded herself that she had a good life, with a fulfilling career, supportive friends, and a loving family. But no matter how much she tried to focus on the good things in her life, her thoughts always turned back to Rohit. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Pooja continued to spend time with Rohit, hoping that he would finally see her as more than just a friend. But every time they were together, Pooja could feel the hopelessness creeping back in. She started to withdraw from her friends and family, not wanting to burden them with her problems. She would spend hours alone in her apartment, staring at the ceiling and wondering what she had done wrong. Why was she always the one left feeling hopeless and alone? Pooja knew that she needed to break the cycle of hopelessness, but she didn't know how. She had tried to distance herself from Rohit, but every time she saw him, her heart would skip a beat. She had tried to focus on other things, but her mind always wandered back to him. It was like she was stuck in a never-ending loop, constantly hoping for something that would never happen. Pooja felt like she was losing herself in her hopeless love for Rohit. One day, Pooja's best friend Nisha came over for a visit. Nisha had always been there for her, even when Pooja pushed her away. As they sat on the couch, sipping tea and catching up, Nisha noticed the sadness in Pooja's eyes. "What's going on, Pooja?" Nisha asked gently. Pooja hesitated, not sure if she was ready to open up about her feelings. But as she looked at her friend, she realized that she couldn't keep hiding anymore. "I'm in love with Rohit," Pooja admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Nisha looked at her with concern. "I know, Pooja. And I know how much it hurts. But you can't keep doing this to yourself. You can't keep hoping for something that will never happen." Pooja felt a surge of anger rise up in her. How could Nisha possibly understand what she was going through? How could she just tell her to give up on her feelings for Rohit? But as she looked at her friend, Pooja realized that Nisha was right. She couldn't keep living in this cycle of hopelessness. She had to find a way to move on, even if it meant letting go of her love for Rohit. The next few weeks were some of the hardest of Pooja's life. She tried to distance herself from Rohit, to focus on other things, to find happiness in other areas of her life. But every time she thought she was making progress, something would happen to set her back. One day, as Pooja was walking home from work, she ran into Rohit on the street. He smiled at her and started to make small talk, but Pooja felt her heart start to race. She couldn't bear the thought of being close to him, knowing that he would never love her back. Pooja tried to keep the conversation light and brief, but Rohit seemed determined to keep talking. As they stood on the sidewalk, Pooja felt her resolve start to crumble. Maybe, just maybe, there was a chance for them after all. But as Rohit said goodbye and walked away, Pooja knew that she had been foolish to think that way. The cycle of hopelessness had started again, and she was right back where she had started. It was then that Pooja realized that she needed help. She couldn't break free of the cycle on her own. She needed someone to talk to, someone who could help her see things clearly. She started seeing a therapist, and slowly but surely, things started to change. She learned to focus on the present moment, to let go of the past and the future. She learned to accept herself for who she was, flaws and all. And she learned to let go of her hopeless love for Rohit. It wasn't easy, and there were many setbacks along the way. But with the help of her therapist, her friends, and her own inner strength, Pooja was able to break free of the cycle of hopelessness. Years later, Pooja looked back on that time in her life with a sense of gratitude. It had been painful and difficult, but it had also taught her a valuable lesson. She had learned that sometimes, the things we hope for are not meant to be. But that doesn't mean that we can't find happiness in other areas of our lives. Pooja went on to have a fulfilling career, to travel the world, and to fall in love with someone who loved her back. And though the memory of her hopeless love for Rohit still lingered, it no longer held the power over her that it once did. Pooja was free, finally, from the cycle of hopelessness.